Welcome back, students. This is Liberty Academy, Basics of Economics. Today we're going to talk about supply and demand. So I've got my graph set up here. This is price for P and Q is quantity. Now, supply and demand is fairly simple. I'm going to just draw these are straight lines. Usually in an actual economy it should be actually a couple of curved lines, because there is a difference as it goes up. It should be a curve rather than a straight line, but for the basics we'll just stick to a straight one. Alright, so here we have our supply. Now the law of supply is, as the price per unit rises, there is more reason for the producer of whatever product to increase the quantity. So we see this is supply. The law of supply, as I just said, is why it goes up like that. It's a positive slope on that. Now demand has a negative slope. The higher the price is, the less quantity are demanded. So the law of demand states that the demand should be represented by a negative sloped line. Alright, so there's a couple of places that are important here. Now the most important place right here in the center where they cross, this is equilibrium. The most efficient area any economy can be. Now, in equilibrium is where the demand perfectly matches the supply. However, there's a couple other places that are a little bit less advantageous. Up here, this area is the supply is greater than the demand. So this would have a lot of leftover supply, which would, I'll get to what it'll actually cause later on, probably part 2 actually. Here we have the demand is less than the supply. Here we have the supply is less than the demand, and here the demand is oh, did I say no? This here is actually the demand being lower or higher than the supply, and this here is the demand being lower than the supply. Now there's two types of movement that go on here. There's movement and shift. We're going to go over movement and shift in part 2, so stick around for that. This was Liberty Academy, Basics of Economics, Supply and Demand.